Today I'm around to 1 hour of Zack Film's most traumatizing animations, from seeing a human get crushed to death in a garbage truck to a man stabbing a magician in the neck.
They found a skeleton wedged in a narrow gap between the walls of their new house. And she was identified as the previous owner of the home.
Previous owner in the house?
Years before, she vanished without a trace. She was listed as missing for 3 years, despite never leaving her house. They think she fell through a broken attic floorboard and got trapped inside, and no one heard her cries for help.
Oh, that's so traumatizing. Bro, if you think this was traumatizing, bro, just you wait until we see his other videos.
He was working on a shoe when his thumb got caught.
Traumatizing, gruesome, cursed, everything, all the bad negative words you can think of, that applies to Zack Films.
In the trimming machine, and in a split second, the blade had sliced through his thumb, dropping it to the ground. He was rushed to the hospital where surgeons amputated his big toe. Next, they connected the blood vessels, nerves, and tendons where his thumb used to be. After months of physical therapy, he could use his toe just like a regular thumb, allowing him to use his hand and get back to fixing shoes.
Bro, imagine, sorry for the feed, but imagine your own toe. Bro, that is, bro, just compare your own thumb to your toe, bro. That's, I mean, you gotta use what you gotta use, but dude, that's unfortunate. Your thumb is big. Literally that, bro. That sounds like a delusional one-off science experiment that was made just because someone's bored. Yeah, bro.
He pulled on the ninja mask, then climbed onto the rooftop and slipped inside the house.
Whoa.
And as his victims slept, he stole their cash.
Oh.
For 8 years, he pulled off over 250 heists.
Damn.
While avoiding the police. But one night, he pulled off his mask, and his face was caught on camera. Police followed him and discovered he was a 74-year-old man.
74?
And when they arrested him, he told them he just simply didn't want to work.
But he's working to rob people. And that's like 10 times the more work. And 10 times the stakes, bro. Hey, to each his own, bro. Being that fit at 74 is crazy. If only he used his talent for good. Yeah, bro. That's crazy. 74-year-old man doing these type of stunts. Whew.
She gets shut inside the cabinet, and the magician slides giant blades through the compartment.
Wait.
Then he slides the middle section sideways and puts his hands through the middle to prove that it's empty. Now, you might expect her chest to be ripped sideways from her body during this trick. But when the middle section moves, the cabinet has a small hidden compartment. This allows her to twist her torso to fit inside.
Are you sure?
Which is how this trick is done.
But we don't see that though. I swear, it doesn't, there's no way. Wait, that's actually crazy though. Because I've always wondered these type of tricks whenever you see that on like a TV show or America's Got Talent. Bro, I've always actually wondered, bro. Bro's making magicians broke. The guy who made this is legendary, yeah? Bro, this is crazy. But like, bro, look at her body though. Like,
torso to fit inside.
Oh my god. Look at her, bro.
He was sleeping in a dumpster when it suddenly tilted, dumping him straight into the garbage truck. And before he realized what happened, the compactor began pressing inward.
Zack Films. That's more like Zack Traumatizing Films. Alright, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro.
Squeezing him tighter and tighter. He screamed as loud as he could in the tight space until a person nearby heard him. They called for help and police quickly alerted the truck driver, and the compactor stopped just inches away from crushing him. They put her body in an iron coffin with a porthole over her face. People would look inside, admiring her beauty even in death. For over 100 years, her face was preserved in the sealed chamber until a visitor's child tapped on the glass and cracked it. Mold spores suddenly rushed into the coffin, and soon her skin was covered in fungus, leaving a white mask where her face used to be.
Bro, are you serious, bro? Yo, screw that kid, bro. 100 years of preservation only be destroyed because some parents doesn't properly take care of their child. That's what I'm saying, bro. The parent of that child should have been held responsible. But screw that child, bro. How are you gonna do, bro, 100 years, bro? Bro, people don't even live that long. And guess what? All that 100 years of that work is gone.
He pulled the Mona Lisa off the wall and slipped out of the museum.
Who thinks he's sneaky?
Since he had covered it in a blanket, nobody paid attention. He smuggled it home, stashing it in the false bottom of a trunk and sliding it hid under his bed.
Ooh, false
Newspapers
bottom.
announced the heist.
Da Vinci
making
stolen.
The Mona Lisa instantly famous. For 2 years, the painting stayed hidden until finally the thief took it to Italy to try and sell it. But the collector knew it was stolen and alerted the police.
What?
And the painting was returned, more valuable than ever before.
Bro, the fact that someone actually was able to steal Mona Lisa in such a simple way is just mind blowing. Bro, like, are we serious right now? Bro, everyone knows the Mona Lisa. Everyone, bro. When you're since birth, bro, you just know what this iconic photo is. Everywhere, every person, every foreign country just knows this. And then he just decided to sell it, bro.
They pushed a tube into the squirrel's tunnel and pumped in flammable gas until the burrow was full. Then they lit a spark.
Yo, but my boy Alvin. Let's see this.
The tunnel entrance. The gas ignited instantly, sending a shockwave racing underneath. Dirt and smoke burst from the ground as the explosion tore through the tunnel.
Mini volcano.
And the force blasted the squirrel out of its burrow in seconds.
Yo, rip Alvin, bro. Rip Alvin, bro. My boy is burnt. Exploded, bro. Us girls who were watching this short got traumatized. That's what I'm saying, bro. Zack the film's most traumatizing shorts.
He crashed his moped without a helmet, and his right side was left paralyzed. And his speech was slurred. So when he complained at a restaurant, the owner thought he was drunk. He called the police, who threw him in a cell overnight. Later, he tried to take a taxi, but again, the driver thought he had been drinking and called the cops. He spent a second night in jail before he could explain. Then he found himself close to a bar fight, and police tried to arrest him again, until they found an ID card explaining his brain injury, and they let him go.
Oh man, poor guy, bro. Honestly, bro, if you had to suffer through brain injury, it just sucks, bro. Cause dude, yeah. It's just like, what the heck, you know what I mean? Like, bro, that's just unfortunate. Poor dude, I hope whoever he is will be blessed, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. Ever since someone thinking they're driving without even checking is crazy. I hope this never happens to them again. Yeah, bro.
The drone would fly toward the flower using tiny propellers, and its underside would be coated in horse hairs, which are covered in a liquid gel. As it lands, the sticky hairs grab pollen grains from the flower, and when it moves to the next, the pollen is dropped inside while picking up new grains. This pollinates the flowers, allowing them to create new fruit. But each robot has to be controlled by hand, and we would need tens of thousands just to pollinate a field of fruit trees, meaning real bees are still better.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Respect to bees, bro. Literally, their life, I've realized, is that all they do is just work 24/7. They just pollinate 24/7, meaning they work 24/7, meaning that's literally all they do, bro. Bro, if we work 24/7 as humans, we would jump off a cliff. All right, in game, of course, but like, damn, respect to the bees, bro.
The ground beneath her feet began to cave in.
Oh no.
She plunged into a 9-foot deep sinkhole
9
filled
foot?
with water. You see, there used to be an old well there decades ago, but over time, the ground had dissolved into a giant underground hole, which crumbled and trapped the woman for 20 minutes. Finally, her neighbors heard her cries and called the firefighters, who hauled her out with a rope, saving her life.
Hey, yo, that, no, y'all heard that? Hold up.
Out with a rope,
ready?
Saving her life.
Hey, firefighter delivered a crazy dap. That's what I'm saying, bro. That was a nice dap.
The bacon is rolled into hollow tubes and baked until they're hard. Then they're bundled together and wrapped with more meat. After that, it's taped to an oxygen hose that releases a steady stream of air. You see, bacon is packed with fat, which stores energy. And when you light it and add oxygen, that fat turns into fuel, which feeds the intense flame, creating a jet of fire that can cut straight through metal.
Hey, the more you know, bro. I'll definitely use this in my future cases.
Start by rolling toilet paper across the gap.
Okay.
Then go back and do it 50 more times.
Okay, yeah. By the way, the title is Crossing a Bridge Made Out of Toilet Paper. So, and then what we just saw is he jumped over the cliff and then jumped back. You know what I mean? So, but let's hear him out. All right, let's hear him out.
When you step onto it, you would still fall straight through. You see, a single sheet can only hold about the weight of a book, meaning more than 150 layers would have to be woven together just to hold your weight. And laid flat, the bridge would be about 20 sheets long and 8 sheets wide, just enough for one person to walk across, but only one at a time.
Hey man, Zack Films really answers the questions that no one in the entire universe in galaxies, far away galaxies, asked, bro. Who the frick is doing this? That's what I'm saying, bro. Literally jumped across. That's why bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. Look at me, look at this, look at this.
Start by rolling
Look at this, look at bro, bro. Look at this, bro.
Then go back.
Okay.
She served beer as fast as she could, racing from table
Hey,
to
hey,
table.
hey,
You see,
hey.
Her manager promised that whoever sold the most beer would receive a brand new Toyota.
What is this? Mr. Beast Hooters?
And when she finally won, they blindfolded her and led her outside. But instead of a car, they handed her a box. And inside was a plastic Yoda figure from Star Wars. Her manager laughed, explaining that this was her brand new toy Yoda, meaning he—
No, I would shoot them right there. In game, of course. I would shoot them right on the spot. If I was that girl, I'll pull out and just keep going. Just keep going. I don't just keep going. And then reload and just keep going. Each eyeball, each nose, each intestines.
He had tricked her and never actually planned on giving away a car. She quit her job and took them to court, and the case settled, giving her enough money to buy a real car.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. That's a WW judge. Valid joke, expensive joke. The manager getting sued was actually relieving. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad that she was able to get her thing.
He was inspecting a grenade when the fuse suddenly ignited, but instead of running, he grabbed it and held it to his belly. He yelled at the other officers to look out, then ran for the door, still holding the bomb. You see, he was planning to throw it out of the
Hey, don't tell me he bounces back in.
building, but when he got there, he saw other soldiers standing outside. So he pressed the bomb tightly to his stomach, and when it went off, the shock was absorbed by his body, eventually killing him. Everyone else survived because of his sacrifice.
That's so sad. He deserves all the respect for protecting the comrades, his comrades for us, yeah.
Put the light bulb in his
Oh
mouth
my
for
God.
an online challenge, but once inside, the bulb got stuck behind his teeth.
Yeah, Zack Films is traumatizing, bro. What?
And he couldn't open his mouth wide enough to remove it. He went to a fire station for help, but they couldn't safely remove it without breaking the glass. At the hospital, doctors used a special tool to gently open his mouth wider. They had to dislocate one side of his jaw to create enough space. Then they slowly pulled the light bulb out without breaking it. Afterwards, they popped his jaw back in and he was able to recover.
Yo, what are we doing? Bro, do not follow the footsteps of this, bro. I don't care if it's for online challenge. Bro, what the heck? Yeah. If we're just starting with this, bro, Zack Films will only get traumatizing throughout the video.
The airplane dropped a frozen chunk of sewage over
Ew,
a park,
bro.
according to the legend. It allegedly fell toward a man balancing on a seesaw for fun. The block hit the other end of the seesaw with perfect force, launching him straight into the air. He flew high before landing chest first on the crossbar of a swing set. The impact broke his ribs, which punctured his heart and lungs, causing massive internal bleeding. Within seconds, he died from the injury, collapsing lifelessly on the swing set, according to the story.
I don't even know. I don't even know. I'm just speechless because this is just like just straight up traumatizing, bro. Bro died to sewage. That's crazy. The thing is, planes don't just drop place like that.
As she sneezed, it
Whoa.
ruptured a disc in her spine, and when it collapsed, a nerve got trapped between her two vertebrae. Suddenly, she couldn't move, and even though she had 3 separate operations, she still suffered extreme pain. For the next 2 years, she was bedridden, needing painkillers so strong she would hallucinate. But finally, doctors inserted a plastic cage around her spine, relieving pressure on the pinched nerve. And within a week, she was walking again.
Let's
and
go.
holding in her sneezes.
Bro, what? Bro, imagine a sneeze, something you do on a daily occurrence, freaking ruin your life for 2 years, bro. A sneeze that literally shattered her spine. The doctor who was able to treat her and make her walk again is the true hero, yes sir. Here's how the human can either easily survive insane scenarios with minimal injuries or get paralyzed by a sneeze, yeah. The torture this poor lady went through, insane.
If you jumped out and aimed for a
Oh.
giant trampoline, you might might think it would bounce you hundreds of feet.
Yeah,
back
bro,
up
this is
into the
slime
air.
box,
But
bro,
in
from
reality,
Minecraft.
Hitting the trampoline at that speed would feel like slamming into concrete.
What?
The force would cause the fabric to rip instantly,
What?
and the springs and metal poles would bend and snap from the impact.
No way.
You wouldn't even bounce. You just crash straight through to the ground.
Oh, thanks, Zack Films, for telling me this, bro. Thank you. Trust me, bro, we did not think you would bounce back up. That's what I'm saying, bro. Pay respect for the person who went through this.
If all the rain from a storm combined together into a single drop,
What the
you would get a
heck?
raindrop about the size of half a football field. As it fell from the clouds,
That's a
it
whole
would speed
meteor,
up
bro.
like a meteor, and when it finally hit the ground, its massive force would instantly vaporize your body, leaving nothing behind. Now, 50 of these drops would release the same energy as an atomic bomb, blasting a huge crater into the earth.
Wow, okay, a vapor. I don't know. So basically, rain is a deadly for small insects. I guess, bro.
When you slice a watermelon in half and in half again, then cut it into wedges, the sticky juices cover your face as you eat. And since it doesn't fit your mouth, you actually lose some of the fruit. Instead, cut the watermelon in half on the short side and flip it over. Next, slice even strips in one direction, then again in the other direction, making a grid. When you pull out a piece, most of them will be the perfect size to fit in your mouth.
Wait, I'm actually learning from Zack Films. Most of his videos are literally traumatizing, cursed, or disgusting, or crazy, bro. But this is the first time I'm actually learning something. Finally, an actual information video and not some skin being peeled of piece by piece. That's what I'm saying, bro. Literally. These animals don't need a raise, they need to cut watermelons.
He throws his body backward when the ball is in the air and lifts his non-kicking leg first to gain height. At the peak of the motion, he snaps his kicking leg forward. He spreads his arms for balance, and his eyes stay locked on the ball until contact. And once he strikes, he lands on his arms and back to absorb the impact, while the ball makes its way toward the goal.
Goal! For those who don't know, he died a few years ago, a legend. What? That's so unfortunate. Yeah, that's so cool to pull off in an actual game.
If you happen to get kidney stones, you could ride a roller coaster and let the shakes dislodge them from the tissue walls. Then, as the coaster moves, the change in speed shakes your whole body, and this makes them move into your bladder, where they can finally pass through when you pee. Now, not every ride is able to do this, but Disney's Big Thunder Mountain does this so well that some people go there just to get rid of their kidney stones.
Are we serious? Keep in mind that this is a very painful experience that can range from mild discomfort to childbirth. Oh my gosh. I mean, you literally have a freaking, I don't know how big kidney stones are, but I'm pretty sure it's like, it's quite some size to come out of your urethra. Bro, Zack never runs out of ideas. The way the stone flew and hit the toilet sounded like the Minecraft digging sound.
It swam straight towards her with a steel hook glinting inside. And instead of turning away, she reached in with her hand inches from its teeth and plucked the hook free. Now on her next dive, another shark appeared with a hook, and then another swam up to her, all with hooks buried in their mouths. Now they would thrash and swim away as she worked to free it, but they would keep coming back until it was gone. And over the years, she has removed more than 300 hooks.
Whoa, that's really cool. Wait, what the heck? Yo, I gotta know who's this. Yo, Shark going, yo, dude, some human help me. Hey, go 1 mile on their way, you'll find someone to help you, bro, Shark.
He tossed the hard drive into the trash, thinking it was blank. But a few months later, he realized it was actually his key to 8,000 Bitcoin, which is worth over $800 million today. He begged the city council to let him dig up the landfill, but they refused, saying he could damage the surroundings. So he made a plan that used special drones and robot dogs, hiring a team of experts to carry it out. And he even tried to buy the whole landfill. But to this day, the hard drive is still buried somewhere under millions of pounds of trash.
Yo, bro, yo, the amount of regret he had to face is insane, bro. $800 million? Bro, that's generations of your family being okay, bro.
He climbs in through a zipper on the belly, slipping his feet into Snuffy's giant ones.
What is this?
With his hands, he controls the eyes and mouth while speaking in Snuffy's voice. And a bike handle attached to a PVC tube allows him to raise and lower the trunk. Behind him, a second puppeteer wears the back legs. And Each movement is carefully rehearsed to ensure Snuffleupagus doesn't trip over himself.
Okay, yeah, Snuffleupagus. Yeah, I don't. Who is this, bro?
He leapt into the air, let out a whistle, and finished with a perfectly timed fart right in front of the king. It was part of a carefully rehearsed performance, and the king loved it. Every Christmas, he act for the ruler and his court, and in return, he was given land, a house, and money. But when he performed his act for the new king, he didn't think farting was funny, and he lost his status in land.
What? Oh, that's unfortunate, bro. The King Seymour was way ahead of his time. Yeah, bro, nowadays, farting is hilarious. Especially, like, it's a quiet room in school, and someone just lets out a freaking bomb. What do you do for a living? Bring humor from farting, I guess.
He climbed up into the plane's wheel compartment, hoping to see the world. But he didn't realize the wheel compartment door would open again in the sky. You see, he had to run away from home because he wanted to travel. And when his parents caught him and put him into boarding school, he ran away from there as well. He snuck into the airport before smuggling himself onto the plane. And as it took off, he thought he would finally get his wish. But as soon as the door opened again, the boy dropped out. And at that exact same moment, a man was testing out a new camera lens. He snapped this chilling photo, capturing the death of the boy and his dreams.
Wow, that's really bad, y'all. Y'all rethink. I get it, y'all want to do your thing, right? But just rethink, just take a second thought, like a good second thought in reasoning. Should you continue this, bro? Because that's so unfortunate. And look at this, bro. This is real, bro. That's so sad. Capturing someone's last moment by accident is surreal. When the animation transitioned to real photo, my nerves felt all tingly. Rest in peace, kid. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro.
If you zoomed in really close on your face, you'd find tiny mites crawling in your pores. These microscopic bugs eat your skin's natural oils, but they have no way to poop it out, meaning the poop builds up inside their bodies throughout their lives. And when they finally die, all that stored up waste spills out onto your skin. Your immune system freaks out, causing red bumps and swelling. So if your face turns red and irritated, it's probably because of poop.
Wait, so all that irritation because of these bugs pooping on my face? Bro, this is what I'm gonna slap my face so I can get rid of those bugs that poop on my face that cause my irritation on my face, bro. Zack, stop talking about poop. Zack, I could have gone my whole life without knowing that.
He molded his own feces into a chisel and waited for it to freeze in the frigid temperatures. He was trapped under his sled in the middle of a blizzard and needed to escape. As the snow piled up, he realized he couldn't break through it with his bare hands. His body heat was melting the snow, increasing his risk of hypothermia, and he was running out of time. Once hardened, he used the makeshift tool to carve his way out of the icy tomb, which ended up saving his life.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that, bro. Honestly, glad he's alive, but bro, I would never think to use my own poop as a chisel to escape the buried snow. All jokes aside, dude's actually really smart. Yeah, bro.
Have you ever had to poop as soon as you stepped into a bookstore?
What?
Well, you're not alone. You see, this happens because it's a relaxing place, and your brain tells your gut that it's a safe time to go. It triggers your colon to suddenly release, and if this happens more than once, your brain will connect the bookstore with your need to poop, training you to go to the bathroom every time you visit.
Yeah, I'ma just move on to the next traumatizing short you have to offer, bro.
The flies lay the eggs inside the cheese, and when they hatch, the maggots eat through it, releasing an acid that breaks down the fats. As they squirm, the cheese softens, and when it's ready, it's served with the live maggots still inside. Now, the maggots will jump off if you don't hold your hand over the sandwich while eating it. But once you swallow them, they can survive in your intestines, eating you from the inside. Because of this, the cheese is actually illegal, but millions of dollars worth is still made and sold on the black market to this day.
Yo, who's eating that? Like what? Like your maggots, bro? That's just, bro. And you know what? You do you. Live your own life, okay? Just don't die. The reason they still buy the cheese is because you can put the cheese in a bag and wait until the worms suffocate to death, then eat almost safely. Almost. I don't care. I'm not taking a chance, bro. I'm not eating maggots. Or the reminiscence of maggots, bro. Like, I'm not. Like, maggots!
Straight up and releases the bomb before flying upside down and backwards. As it straightens up and flies away, it stays out of enemy range. At the same time, the bomb rises high into the sky, arcing toward the target. And when it reaches its highest point, it drops back down toward the target. By the time it hits, the aircraft is far enough away to avoid the blast.
I did not know if planes fly upside down to drop the bombs. That's kind of interesting. Imagine me a soldier and thinking that the plane was doing aerobatics while I was busy doing its business, releasing a bomb. Yeah, bro. Definition of hit and run.
To get the ship inside the bottle, fold the masts flat so they fit inside. Once in position, gently tug thin strings attached to each mast and sail. The masts slowly rise upright, and the sails line up, settling in place. With thin sticks and tweezers, you attach the rigging and shift the sails until it's perfect. Then you carefully trim the strings, sealing the bottle shut.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I was wondering how they got those in there. That's what I'm saying, bro. You always see those in the movies, and now we know.
If you pour high-proof alcohol into an empty gas tank, it gets pulled through a pump and sprayed into the engine where spark plugs ignite it. And it might burn just enough to drive. But alcohol doesn't burn like gasoline. It doesn't get as hot, meaning it produces less energy. This would cause the engine to stall and jerk, and you would only make it a mile or so before it sputters out.
That's not bad. I mean, hey, if you're really out of gas, I mean, hey, do not take this advice, but hey, like, let's say you're in a zombie apocalypse and you're out of gas, that's what you gotta do. Instead of being the driver being drunk, the engine is.
They would pee on rags, then tie them around their faces. You see, in World War I, enemy soldiers released chlorine gas toward the trenches. And if soldiers breathed in this gas, their lungs burned, making it impossible to breathe. So the pee-soaked rags would weaken the gas, protecting their lungs just enough for them to survive. But it turns out that plain old water was just as effective, meaning the pee was never necessary.
I'm just speechless because y'all gotta realize, like, yeah, we see this animation, and good thing this is animation. Bro, imagine that in real life, bro. Imagine you have to inhale, smell, maybe even taste, put the lips of your lips onto the rag that's soaked in pee.
He filmed himself rubbing meat on his butt and sticking cheese up his nose before putting them on sandwiches to serve at Domino's. They posted the videos online as a prank, but just hours later, the clips went viral, and it shocked everyone who saw it. Some viewers even tracked down the exact store location, and the two employees were quickly fired and arrested. Domino's even sent out a public apology, but the damage was done and their sales dropped by 50%.
Damn, bro, that's what you get, bro. Like, what's even the point of this? Like, honestly, the only thing I could think of, like, of them doing this is, bro, for views. But, dude, this is why you don't chase the clout. Bro, meat on his butt is a wild way to start a conversation. Yeah.
Start with a triangle made of 4 pieces that fit together perfectly. But when you rearrange it, an empty spot suddenly appears. You see, when you first put it together, it looks like the pieces fit together with no extra space. But if you look closer, the smaller triangles inside have slightly different slopes, so they can't form a perfectly straight line. And this makes the longest side curve just a tiny bit. When rearranged, that tiny curve shifts, leaving tiny strips of empty space. And the area of these strips is exactly the size of the missing square, meaning it was never actually a triangle, just an optical illusion.
Wait, not gonna lie, how does this make sense? This amount, there's no way equals to this amount of space, right? I mean, obviously it does, but like from a visual standpoint, dude, that looks trippy, bro. Way people make puzzles are actually insane. No blood, no gore. Thank you, Zack. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's why Zack D Films has the best animations. Sometimes.
They scraped through the wall, creating a tunnel. And they did this through the night to avoid the prison guards. At one point, one of them was caught, but he convinced them that he was just stealing food from the cellar. After months of tunneling, they finally surfaced 60 feet away, and over 100 men escaped through the narrow shaft. 2 drowned as they attempted to cross the river. Another 48 were recaptured, but 59 men made it across Union lines, finally reclaiming their freedom.
Let's go. Man, that's actually awesome, bro. That's actually very wholesome. The guy who convinced the prison guard must have been the kid who had excuses for everything at school. Getting away by saying I was just stealing is just crazy work, bro. The story deserves a full movie. The plan and curse are insane. Yeah, honestly, attempting to escape any sort of prison is scary, especially in real life, bro. You can do that in video games, but in real life, bro, ain't no way, bro. You're literally putting your life on the line.
The hatch was closed after the baby was put into the stroller, and a glass window let the parents see inside. As As they walked, they would use a small hand pump to pull air through a filter, and only clean air would reach the chamber. You see, during World War II, people were afraid that mustard gas would be dropped on cities. So they made the stroller to make sure the gas was filtered out and their babies could breathe safely.
I mean, hey, if that did actually happen, that's crazy, bro. I thought he was gonna tell us the reason why it didn't work, but then I realized it's generally a smart invention that the mustard gas was never dumped in cities. Yeah, I guess, yeah. It's just like, it's a little bit like absurd. Like, it comes to a point to do this, you know what I mean?
If you put a plane into a catapult and launched it, you would only need to use the engine once it was in the air. And some people think this would save a ton of jet fuel. But for a commercial plane, the catapult would have to launch it at almost 200 miles per hour, causing the metal to rip right off. And even if you made it stronger, the force inside the cabin could seriously injure passengers.
That's funny.
And you would need to use extra fuel just to power the catapult, meaning you wouldn't really be saving anything.
That'd be crazy. That'd be like one of the world's craziest roller coasters right here. But you could actually have a higher chance of dying, bro. If you put a plane in a catapult, what a way to start a conversation, bro. Honestly, bro, who would have thought of that, bro? Forget about Angry Birds. We got Angry Planes. The man who threw up, bro. Yeah, imagine this, bro. Look at this. The G-force are like, and look at this.
She slipped into the race just half a mile from the finish line, blending in with the real runners as the crowd cheered around her. Then she sprinted across the line, arms raised, claiming victory in front of cameras. But other runners were immediately suspicious, since no one remembered running next to her. So officials checked every checkpoint and found that she was never listed. So they stripped her of the title.
Yeah, screw you, bro. You can't be faking that. Bro, people who run, I gotta give props to them, because I hate running. Running is one of those things where you either like it or not. And like, bro, I hate it, and like, but like, because it's hard. Like, if you actually run forever, bro, that jump is hard, bro. Fake it till you make it, have a movement. Speed's so unreal, even the GPS gave up.
You instantly lost 300 pounds. Surgeons could cut the loose skin along your torso and arms. Then they could stitch the extra folds together.
What the heck?
Them into wide wing-shaped flaps. The loose skin on your legs would also be cut on the inside, then stitched together. And once fully healed, the stretched skin would spread out like a suit. And if you jumped off a building, it could catch enough air to let you glide for just a few seconds.
These are definitely the world's weirdest animations, bro. Zack Films, what are we? Yo, like, I'm so speechless because how weird this is, bro. Bro became a super glider. Why would a person in their right mind would want to sew their body together, bro? For a few seconds, diabolical.
The cobra wrapped itself around the toddler's hands.
GG's.
Before anyone could react,
what the heck?
he leaned down and bit its head. The snake died instantly, but the boy passed out on the ground. His parents rushed him to the hospital, afraid that he had been poisoned. But venom works best when it's injected through the snake's fangs. And since he bit the snake before it could bite him, he only suffered a little swelling and quickly recovered.
Yo, bravo, this was weird, but like, yo, that's crazy, yo. Little Tyler showing who's dominant. What the heck? I've never in my right mind or bro, who would think to do that? That's a, wow, I'm so speechless. What the heck? Bro got a taste of his own medicine. This is literally more brutal than what Hercules did, bro. A toddler is the worst fearless creature on earth.
If you place a quarter on the table and roll another one all the way around it, you would expect the moving coin to spin just one rotation. But when it gets back to where it started, it's actually spun twice. You see, as the coin rolls, its edges has to touch every single part of the other quarter. And this makes it spin one full turn already. But the coin's middle is also going in a big circle around the other coin. And this extra trip makes the coin rotate one more time. So instead of one spin, the moving coin does two. And this was so confusing that even the SAT books got it wrong. And they had to throw the question out.
What? What the heck? Man, this is why I dropped out of elementary school, bro. This is such a simple gear train problem, but I understand it is not being an SAT question. Even the SAT getting it wrong is insane. These animations need a raise. Yeah, bro.
She jumped a fence into the polar bear enclosure.
Okay, so we're starting off with a very strong statement. Like, we jump into the polar bear enclosure. Did I just hear that right?
Right in the middle of feeding time. One of the bears bit her from behind.
What do we expect? What do we expect? Polar bears? One of the most ferocious animals on the planet. Like, oh no, don't you think they're so cute in them cartoons? Bro, they are beasts. They are maniacs. They are psychopaths.
She swam. Rescuers finally pulled her out, but seconds later, she slipped and fell straight back in.
Yo, that's some cartoon stuff.
The bear attacked again before they managed to drag her to safety for good. She had deep bites covering her body, but survived, and was later fined for trespassing.
You're good, bro. Honestly, bro, like bro, what kind of, like, let me see the cons, bro. Stupidity to the next level. That's what I'm saying, bro. Stupidity to the next level. What are we thinking here? The polar bears, bro. They're worse than bears. They actually are worse than bears. Imagine trespassing the polar bear expedition and being surprised the polar bear acted like a polar bear. That's what I'm saying.
If you plugged the top of an erupting volcano, would it prevent it from exploding? Well, magma and gas would still be rising from deep inside the earth. And with nowhere to escape,
oh
the
my
pressure
gosh,
would build higher and higher until the rock around the magma chamber would start to crack, opening new eruption points
oh my
miles away
gosh,
from the original volcano. But the pressure might cause it to explode sideways out of the volcano, causing the eruption to be even more destructive than normal.
Yeah, this is why you don't plug your butt, bro. See, stuff like that will happen. Zack, why? Tampon? No, yeah, bro. Like, this is definitely one of the weirdest animations, bro. Zack films known for traumatizing, weird, and crazy. And sometimes you get educational.
After she withdrew thousands of dollars from the bank, he followed her through the streets.
Oh,
and
no,
while she was walking, he
woman.
grabbed her and threw her to the ground. Then he took what he thought was the cash and started to run away. But he realized he had taken the wrong bag, so he came back and slammed her even harder into the concrete. Her spine snapped, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down. He took the money and ran, but was later caught and sentenced to 30 years in prison.
He's sentenced to forever, bro. No, poor woman, man. Bro, being paralyzed is just not fun, bro. Like, imagine all the things you could do, you can imagine, are literally just gone because you can't go to places. You can't travel. You can't go to McDonald's now. If you do, it would take, what, 10 times longer just to get to that destination because she's paralyzed. But this guy should get, like, life, bro. Come on, bro. This man doesn't deserve 30 years in prison. He needs a lifetime in prison. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, no, like, being paralyzed is no joke. Like, no joke. Like, we take what we have today, living, for granted, to be honest. Most people do. Imagine working so hard for your very own money just for your spine to break and become paralyzed for no reason. That's what I'm saying, bro. Poor woman, I want to hug her. Yeah, same, bro.
The cicadas spend most of their lives buried underground, sucking sap from tree roots.
Yeah, honestly, bro, if you're reincarnated as a cicada, bro, I just have to point this out, bro. You have the worst life ever. Bro, you're underground for like 18 years. And then what? Once you emerge, you only live for like 2 weeks or even less.
And year after year, billions stay hidden, growing slowly in the dark. Then, after 17 years, they all begin to crawl out. Billions emerge together, covering trees and fences and streets. And each female lays hundreds of eggs in tree branches. When the eggs hatch, the tiny babies drop to the ground and dig down into the soil, starting the entire cycle again.
17 years just for this to happen. Nice. Spend 17 years underground, wake up, scream for a month, refuse to elaborate, die. Yep, pretty much. If for those who don't know, after 17 years of living underground, they live for about 2 to 6 weeks outside. What a terrible life, bro. I'm sorry. This is so bad.
He tried to carjack the van with 2 kids inside, but the 12-year-old started punching him and screaming for help. As he tried to steal the car, she pushed the gear stick into drive and held it there. And this safety feature made it impossible to start the engine. When the criminal realized this, he ran away. Police got him soon after, and the girl survived with only a fractured wrist, saving her sister and
hey, W girl, baby! Hey, dude, that's awesome, bro. That's actually awesome. You know what I mean? Imagine me stopping Rara from robbing my family. Yep, exactly this. We all had that one time where in class we would just daydream of stopping the villain or the bad guy. She's such an active and truly heroic sister.
She dropped her diamond ring in the garden, accidentally burying it in the soil.
Are you serious right now?
She searched for for hours but never found it. And years later, she planted carrot seeds in the same spot. Beneath the dirt, one tiny seed sprouted near the lost ring. And as it grew, it pushed through the ring's open center, slowly thickening and wrapping itself tightly around the band. When the plants were ready, the woman pulled the carrot from the ground, and she found her ring after 13 years.
That's so weird. That's so like bizarre, bro. Like 13 years, bro. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's really long. Dude, that's crazy. It was 24 karat gold. That's a good one, bro. Bugs Bunny gonna use the carrot as a marriage approval. Imagine the ring multiply and she find infinite money glitch. Imagine, bro.
The real money was placed between the play money, and tiny metal compasses were disguised as playing pieces. Then, secret maps were pressed flat inside the board game. The games were boxed and placed into care packages and sent into prison camps. You see, the British military worked with a toy company, and together they hid these secret tools inside the boards, disguised as a simple game. Prisoners used the money to bribe guards, and once free from the camp, the map and compass helped guide them to freedom.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, why didn't they just give the guards the get out of jail card and keep the money? Monopoly really helped prisoners back in the day, bro.
As you slice down, the blade can slip off the pit.
Woo! Yeah, we gotta love Zack films. Gotta love his traumatizing, weird, and bizarre animations.
And shoot in your hand.
Yeah, you don't do that, bro. You always cut away, bro. I mean, no, it is avocado.
Try to cut an avocado while holding it. If you stab the pit to twist it out, it can also slip.
Bro! Okay. Alright, bro. This is definitely gonna get censored, y'all. Like,
sending the knife into your fingers. Instead, place the avocado on a cutting board and slice around the pit.
That's
then
good.
Rotate the halves apart. Tap the pit
Chop,
with your knife
twist,
blade and twist to lift it out.
Yes.
Then if you clean the pit, wrap it in a damp paper towel and let it sit for a few weeks, it'll start to germinate. Then just put it in some soil and you now have an infinite avocado glitch.
Hey, Zack, an infinite avocado glitch? Nature, bruh. Yeah, it don't work like that. 40% avocado, 50% stabbing your hand.
He walked into the bank pretending to be a health inspector and demanded all the staff take a vaccine. They lined up and swallowed it, but moments later, they collapsed
what a heist.
in extreme pain. You see, he had actually given them a deadly poison,
Damn.
and as it started to kill them, he grabbed cash from the vaults. 12 people died slowly and painfully, and all he walked away with was a few $100s.
That's actually depressing. A few $100 after killing 12 people. This guy better be caught, bro. Like, honestly, turn yourself in, to be honest, at this point. Like, that's pathetic. But if you use a non-lethal poison, instead you decide to make all of them die in extreme pain, that's not a robber, that's a serial killer acting like one. Exactly. 12 deaths for a few $100. That's outrageous.
As you walk on the tiles, the pressure creates mechanical movement that shifts a small generator inside the tile, which creates an electric charge.
That's really
Wires
cool.
inside capture this charge and send it to a battery where it's stored. Now, each footstep only produces 4 watts of power, not enough to charge anything. But if these tiles were installed in Times Square, they could create enough energy to power these billboards for a few seconds.
I mean, energy or electricity is electricity, bro. In the US, they'd be vandalized the next day. But in fact, it is in Japan, made in 2008. Yes, that early. Whoa, that's crazy. For a few seconds, caught off guard. Yeah, honestly, when I said like few seconds, I was like, bruh.
He pulled the bench out from under him and smashed it in half in front of everyone. You see, in medieval Italy, bankers worked from wooden benches called banca. And according to the legend, if they couldn't pay their debts, breaking the bench, known as rata, showed they were ruined and had no money. Together, bancarata meant broken bench, the symbol of financial ruin. Now, over time, the phrase was passed along to other countries, and eventually it was translated into English as bankrupt.
Unfortunate, bro. A bit of misunderstanding turned into a popular word. How are you broke? My bench was smashed.
He had to glide down toward a highway because his engine had stalled. But as the landing gear lowered, it hooked onto the trunk of a car speeding below, and the plane and car moved together at highway speed. Once he noticed, the driver brakes, stopping safely with the plane still perched on his trunk. Now, no No one got hurt, but the pilot said he would never fly again.
What? What are the odds? Once he noticed, like, bro, how do you not notice a car? Yo, Zack films be twisting the story, I swear. Like, this is crazy, bro.
Stick your finger behind the eye and pop it right out of the tuna. Then boil it for a minute to remove dirt and bacteria. Throw them into a pot with broth, soy sauce, and ginger, and let them simmer for about 15 minutes. As they're cooking, cover them with tin foil to keep them moist. The fat around them will melt into the pot, mixing with the other ingredients. And once they're done, you would suck the juice out of the eye as a delicacy.
Hey, you know what? You can have it. You can have it, bro. Dad, what are we having for dinner? Ice.
She slipped at the funhouse, and her long hair got caught in the machinery. This pinned her against the floor as the rollers ripped chunks of her hair out, separating part of her scalp from her head. When the emergency crew rushed to the scene, they had to cut apart the ride just to free her, but she was left with life-changing injuries, and the funhouse was immediately shut down.
That's so sad. That's really sad, bro. Bro, I don't even know what to say. You got goosebumps the moment her hair was ripped off her head, bro. I feel so bad, bro. Holy crap, the animation was brutal. Bro, I said this earlier, bro. Zack films weird, bizarre, and traumatizing. That's what we got.
Surgically removed 90% of her tongue because it had cancer. Next, they cut a muscle out of her arm.
This was crazy, bro.
They connected the veins inside her mouth and stitched the nerves together. The muscle was stitched onto what was left of her tongue, matching its shape. And even though doctors said she would never speak again, she said hello to her daughter just days later.
Yep, Zack films has the most disturbing animations, bro. And even this is disturbing, bro. In a video, it's just get crazier.
His metal dog tag slipped out of his shirt while he was sleeping, and the chain dangled down and touched the exposed prongs of his phone charger. In an instant, electricity surged into the necklace, turning it into a burning hot wire. The current shot through his neck, chest, and hand, searing his skin, but he managed to tear the necklace off just in time, leaving him with nothing but severe burns.
That's actually, yo, W-mans, bro. Actually, this is why you don't see with wires or any source of electricity near you. When the final destination, I just, yeah, bro, like, he actually survived, bro. Yo, props to him, and I'm glad he survived, bro.
You would pack shoulder to
what
shoulder
the
in
hell?
a giant circle, and the outer layer would face deadly cold winds, while the inner group would be warmed by body heat. But the layers of the circle would have to keep switching, slowly moving people from the outside into the center of the group. If a person spent too long on the outer layer, they would die from the cold, leaving the inside exposed to the wind. Now, penguins have layers of thick fat and feathers to keep them warm during this, but the human body isn't as good at keeping the cold out.
Suck.
So each person would need to constantly wiggle their feet and squeeze their calves to produce heat. Otherwise, everyone would freeze to death in hours.
That's actually wild, bro. It's all fun and games until someone in the group farts. Hey, at least that would generate some meat, bro. Who the frick is doing this? I don't know, bro. When you watch Zack films, he's the guy that just asks his questions that nobody asks, bro. He answers the questions that nobody asks. Worst time to get bricked. Imagine you're doing your calf raises and you just have to like move it. Nah, you know, I don't even want to go into that. This is why humans have the brain to innovate. We have clothes. Yeah, we have clothes, but dude, without any of that, we are terrible. But we humans, I'm not gonna lie, our anatomy and stuff it's not that good. Like we are pretty trash when it comes to anatomy. But this is what we have, our brains. Like honestly, bro, like imagine someone from the freaking, I don't know, the 1000th century to now, bro, like the technologies we have a phone, y'all. Like, y'all be glad we're here. I ain't gonna lie.
He grabbed the stage and began to pull himself up. And when he climbed on top, the singer pushed him backwards. Now, the stage was 3 feet high with nothing to break the fall, so he crashed onto the floor, his head slamming hard on the concrete. The 19-year-old fan immediately went into a coma, and weeks later, he died. Now, 2 years after that, the band flew back to perform, but officers were waiting at the airport. They arrested the singer once they landed, and he was charged with manslaughter and forced to spend 5 weeks in prison. But in court, the blame shifted to security for failing to keep the fans away from the stage, and the singer was found not guilty.
The fact that he was found not guilty after literally killing someone's crazy, bro. The singer associated with fan death is Randy Blythe, the vocalist for the metal band Lamb of God. Okay. During a 2010 concert in Prague, Blythe allegedly pushed a 19-year-old friend off the stage, leading to injuries that cost the fans death. 14 days later, although the Blythe was charged with manslaughter and faced criminal liability, he's acquitted at trial, with the court finding others party more at fault. Bro, honestly, bro, that's pretty unfortunate, bro. For one, pushing a crazed fan climbing on the stage in the middle of your performance seems to be the normal reaction most people have. Yeah, bro, like, I mean, at least, like, maybe run away from him, because, you know, nowadays, you don't know what some fans or some people are up to. I get it, but, dude, like, a push, man, and I'm gonna lie, yo, security, bro, how did he bypass the security? Because there's, bro, when you go to a concert, there's security up front. There's like 10 of them, bro, just guarding like this, you know what I mean?
They shot the blowgun while
I just know this might be like so bad. Like, are we serious right now?
she was playing, and the dart went up her nose. It shot deep in her skull and lodged in the bone, right next to a major artery. And if they pulled it out, she could have died. Instead, doctors put a tiny camera and drill up her nose. Over the next few hours, they drilled through bone, removing small pieces until the dart came loose and it was carefully pulled out.
I hope y'all realize just like how crazy this did we just witness, bro. Okay, nah, like, like, first of all, first thing we gotta talk about is who the hell would shoot a dart at a kid, bro?
Blowgun while she was playing, and the dart went up her nose.
Dude, that's so bad, yo. Bro,
and lodged in the bone.
It's so good that she didn't hit an artery. And by the way, I learned this recently, that like these veins or arteries, bro, they're like super important veins, I think, something like that. And if it bleeds or like breaks open, bro, it's like blood everywhere. Like it's like like normally you get like normal blood, right? And this is okay on the skin, but bro, this is like, I don't know, 15 times that. Like it will go everywhere, which is insane. And like, bro, who are those kids, bro? This may be a little out of context, but the shooter is way too diabolical to think of that, doing that to a child. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, like what? Hello? Whoever shot that is a retired hitman. Yeah, I can't tell you how pain she felt after getting the arrow through that nose. Yeah, dude, actually, dude, through the bone, bro. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this, y'all.
It shot deep in her skull and lodged in the bone.
They shot a blowgun while she was playing. It's not something I would be hearing today, yeah.
When you blow on a dandelion, each tiny white parachute is actually a seed. The wind carries them until they land, and a new dandelion grows, which is why you see them everywhere. When the yellow flowers lose their petals, the seed starts to grow until it becomes a white puffball.
Oh, okay. So those yellow flowers are actually dandelions.
And the cycle begins again. Now, most people just see them as weeds, but you can actually use the flowers for salads. The leaves can be cooked like spinach, and if you bake the root and grind it up, it actually tastes a bit like coffee, meaning the whole thing is edible.
Whoa, that's actually, bro, this is why I like Zack films, you know? This is the good side, you know? You do have the traumatizing, most gory part, most bloody part, most weirdest part of Zack films, but you know, occasionally he hits you with some educational content, and stuff like this is awesome.
He sunk his teeth.
Okay, yeah, no, this is Mike Tyson. I'm actually curious about this story because this is what he's known for, or one of his stories.
He sunk his teeth into the opponent's ear and ripped off a chunk. The man jumped, bleeding and screaming in pain, but a doctor let the match continue until Mike Tyson did it again. But this time, he bit the other ear.
Okay, I actually did. Okay. Yo, if 1 year wasn't enough, bro, 2 years. Yo, this guy's, he's him. I ain't gonna lie with you, he's him. This guy's, wow, I did not know it was 2, bro. I thought it was just 1. That's crazy. That's a serial boxer, bro.
Now the fight kept going until the referee noticed the bite. Tyson was disqualified, fined $3 million, and banned from boxing for 15 months.
Wow. The ref finally noticed. That doctor 100% had money on that game. If you can't beat him, eat him. Mike Tyson. Probably. Mr. Referee, he bit the second ear. The price of food is not that high, bro. Yo, honestly, I wonder what the crowd was acting during that time. That's crazy. That's just genuinely crazy, bro.
If you plopped every human on Earth onto one giant scale, it would read over 500 million tons. But what if you did this with all of the bugs on Earth?
Oh, yeah, that's just bajillion, gadillion, zillion, bro.
Well,
Quintillion.
you might think it would be about the insane.
No.
But Earth is crawling with over 10 quintillion
bro.
bugs, massively outnumbering humans
I hate
in
bugs,
numbers
bro.
and mass. Altogether, they would weigh over 1 billion tons, almost double the weight of every human on the planet.
That's just nasty, bro. I hate bugs. I wish. No, some bugs are okay. Like mosquitoes, gotta go, bro. Flies gotta go. At least like just don't fly in my face and land on me, bro. You know what I'm saying? And mosquitoes, I don't give a bro. Mosquitoes, they just love sucking me. Pause, but like they really do. They suck me every day. I'm not even joking. As crazy as that sounds, I just say mosquitoes, bro. They be okay. Why am I reacting? But you get the idea, bro. Like mosquitoes. I wish all mosquitoes die. Burn in fiery pits of furnace, bro.
As the candle burns, the flame slowly melts the wax, inching closer to the clothespin. A metal bottle cap sits on top of a Q-tip, held in place by one leg of a paper clip.
What the
other
DOI?
leg is angled downward, placed exactly where you want the candle to stop. As it gets shorter, the wax underneath melts away, causing the leg to fall. This tiny movement lets the bottle cap drop straight down onto the flame. When it lands, it blocks out all the oxygen, smothering the fire instantly.
This is so DIY. I'm here for it, bro. I'm convinced this guy lived in all the time periods. The person that invented this device is a genius. Do you sacrifice the candle's aesthetic for efficiency?
If you tried to cook a chicken breast with a lightning strike,
Here we go again. Zack D films the weirdest questions that we just never asked for, bro. He answers those for sure.
it would instantly char the outside while leaving the inside raw. Instead, set up a tall rod to catch the lightning strike, sending most of it safely into the ground. Then have a smaller part of the rod in a big tank of salty water. When the bolt strikes, the electricity would heat up the water, and that water is used to heat up the chicken. If the lightning keeps striking, the tank heats evenly, cooking
If it
all
keeps
the
striking.
way through the chicken.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Zack D films. I definitely asked the question of how to cook a chicken breast with lightning, bro. I definitely asked that, bro. Unclear instructions. I revived the chicken. Bear Grylls taking notes right now.
The crocodile lunged
Yo, my man, bro. Yeah, I paused in the right second. Yeah, cause like, bro, ripped to my guy, Jose. I'm sorry, but
from the water and bit the man on his thigh. It dragged him down, ripping through his skin and muscle. But Steve Irwin jumped onto the crocodile's back, and the man managed to tear his leg out of his mouth. He began to climb out, and the crocodile followed, but Steve Irwin forced a stick in between its jaws, stopping it from biting and allowing both men to escape. His friend needed 187 stitches, but he survived and went back to work soon after.
yo, going back to work is insane, bro. I don't care, bro. That would leave me with PTSD with the rest of my life, bro. He literally saved his friend's life, putting his own at the line, ultimate act of loyalty and bravery. Yeah, jumping on the no. I feel like I really did. I just skipped the fact that this guy, Steve Irwin, I believe some like super nature cool dude, he jumped on the back of a crocodile, put a stick into the crocodile's mouth. You know how insane you gotta be to just do that? The back of the crocodile, and we don't know how big this crocodile is. Who knows? This could be freaking 10 feet. I doubt it, because that's really big. And like, put a stick inside the... Are we mad? Bro, how I put the fries in the bag, bro? Like, Tyrion is so trained that he could easily run over the fence. Yeah, bro.
If you wanted your house to bounce like
Okay, yep, here we go again. Zack D Films answers the questions no one in the entire world, even galaxies, asked, bro.
a lowrider car, you would need to attach car-sized hydraulic cylinders underneath it, and they would have to pump thousands of liters in a single second just to lift the house once. But the floors and walls would split under the pressure, so you would also need steel plates and beams to support the house. And even then, the force would be so extreme that it would crack your chimneys while shattering every window. But you could wire the cylinders to your alarm clock for a seriously effective wake-up call.
Yeah, man, I'll definitely keep this in mind when I'm, just modify my house, making my house bouncy. Nice. But what the heck, bro? But really, question: who's even want their house to bounce like a car? Hey, you never know, bro. You just never know, bro. Zack actually loves solving problems no one has. That's what I'm literally saying, bro. Like I'm telling you, bro. Like he literally answers the questions not even ants will ask, bro.
He stepped onto the moon and dumped a handful of rocks into a bag. It was sent for testing back on Earth, but it got mixed up in storage and shipped to a museum where the owner illegally sold it. And years later, a woman bought it at an auction for $1,000. When she asked NASA to test it, they refused to give it back to her.
What?
Because they realized it was from the first moon landing. So she sued them and won it back, auctioning off the bag for millions of dollars and giving the money to charity.
Yo, she's awesome. To give it the money charity, wow. She's a really kind person, winning the lawsuit and then donating to charity. Yeah, that's insane, bro. I'll take some. Not gonna lie, I'll take some and maybe give it away to charity, bro. Wow. Respect for that when donating $1.8 million for someone in need. Yeah, bro.
If you stick a vacuum hose on your neck, the strong suction pulls at your skin, stretching it and breaking tiny blood vessels underneath. These vessels leak blood, creating a noticeable bruise. To stop it, grab a cold spoon and press it onto the bruise right away. The cold metal begins to cool down the area, causing your blood vessels to shrink, and this slows down the bleeding under the skin, meaning less blood spreads out, which leaves less of a mark.
Yeah, so this is just hickeys, bro. It's a tip for hickeys, by the way. Yeah, this is just straight up hickeys, bro. Yeah, look at this guy.
The kidnapper tried to cover her mouth, but she bit him and he let go. She ran screaming while
Let's go, run, kid, run, kid, run.
The backyard.
No.
Inside, her 13-year-old brother heard the noise and grabbed his slingshot.
No way.
He aimed through a window
No
and
way.
hit the man once in the head and then again in the chest. The shots slowed him down just enough for her to get away. When officers found him, he had visible injuries from the slingshot that stopped him.
W brother, bro. Honestly, I'm glad that happened, bro. Why, bro? Why? I don't get why people just kidnap kids, bro. Like, why, bro? That 13-year-old is a real hero. He didn't only save his sister, but he also saved the other kids he would have kidnapped. Respect. Parents who be proud. His daughter knows self-defense. His son knows how to defend for the family. Yes, sir, bro.
If you were pregnant with 10 babies at once, your belly would stretch to the size of a giant beach ball. Inside, the babies would weigh over 60 pounds, and the placentas would add another 10. Your body would have to produce 5 times more blood than usual just to keep them alive. This means you would need to force down around 17 burgers a day just to get enough calories. If you tried to give birth, the babies would end up choking each other with their umbilical cords into a tangled mess.
And there you guys have 1 hour of Zack the Film's most traumatizing animations. If you guys see more content like this, click this video here.